Hey everybody, Mark Agnesi here again in the back room at Norman's Rare Guitars. Welcome back to another episode of Guitar of the Day. Welcome. Let's see. We hit 250,000 followers on Instagram this morning.
Yes.
At Norman's Rare Guitars. If you're not following us on Instagram yet, you should. The website being in the shambles that it's currently in until we get the new website up. Jen's putting up pictures of inventory, new stuff we're getting. That's the best place to know what we got, is on Instagram. 250,000 of you guys are following us on that.
Yep.
Pretty cool. So yeah, at Norman's Rare Guitars, go follow it. Keep up with all the new stuff that comes in. A lot of the times we can't even get to the show because sometimes the stuff goes before we get a chance to do it, like yesterday's telly did. Let's see, what else would we have to talk about? There was something else we needed to talk about. See, this is what happens when we get back here and freeze up on things. Well, it's Wednesday.
Yes.
We've been doing some killer ESs. This one is no different. This is another one from the stash.
Ooh.
You guys like ESs with PAFs, don't you? Who are we kidding? Of course you do. Come on back. Oh, this is from 1962. This is an original Gibson ES-345TDC. Original cherry finish, 2 PAFs. Just Marty McFly is the F word right there. Freddie King is the F word too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
Wow.
It's so red.
It's so
my favorite flavor, cherry red. Okay. First off, for those of you guys who like Providence, let me grab real quick here. This is, I'm going to set this down just to be safe. For those of you who like Providence, this is Norman's first book, The 40 Years of Buying, Selling, Collecting. This guitar is the one that is featured here on page 169. Nope. It's this one right here on page 171. It's actually tagged as a 1963 here. They guesstimated when they were doing the book. They just looked at serial number. 62. It's a 62. 2 PAFs in this guy, but that's it right there. It's the one in the book. So that's always cool when you go to sell them down the line, when they've already been featured and stuff. So let's talk about 345s. So we've been doing 335s, obviously a lot. Those came out in 58. 59, Gibson wanted to offer a variation on the guitar. Two different models came out, the 345 and the 355. Both stereo versions. Stereo, you say? Yeah, stereo. This was like end of the 50s, beginning of the 60s. This was like the cool new technology. It was the robot tuners of the day. So you're going to see most of these 45s and 55s with this little doodad right here, which is called the stereo veritone switch. And then it has stereo out, so these usually came with a stereo Y cable, which would be like a tip ring sleeve cable going into the guitar, splitting out to a Y, which had 2/4 inches on it, which you would either plug into two separate amps, or Gibson made the companion stereo combo amp, stereo in one box, which they sold as the companion to the guitar. And what would that do when you're in stereo, you ask? Well, when you're up just on the neck pickup, you're going to hear that in one amp. Down, you'll hear the other amp on the bridge pickup. And then in the middle, you'll get the full stereo image of both. Now, why is that cool? Well, you can do some other things with that. You know, you can have reverb and delay and have a wet signal on one side, keep the other side dry. You could do all sorts of things with panning and all that kind of stuff. And that was the cool new technology of the day, the stereo guitar. Now, they did, on the 355s, you will see some factory mono versions. We did a factory mono not that long ago. Keith famously has that black factory mono. But pretty much all the 345s are stereo, because that's really the only major difference between this guitar and a 335. So a 335 would have single ply white binding. 345 is a little bit fancier. 3-ply white, black, white. Once you go to the 355, you see the white, black, white, black, white, the 5-ply binding. Gold parts instead of nickel. And then the split parallelogram inlays on the board instead of either the dots or 62 335. We just have the small block. You still have the inlaid crown and Gibson logo. But it's really about the stereo switching on these. The other cool thing about this guitar, and what makes it most desirable, is going to be the stop tailpiece. Stop tailpiece is always more desirable. Now, they did these with Bigsby's. They also did these with some Maestros. Here's the deal. People prefer it with the stop tail. I love factory wiggle stick on a 335 style guitar. I've got it on mine. But most desirable is going to be the Stoptail. And now the Stoptail is only available from inception through 1964. Once you get into 65 is when you start to see that trapeze bridge, trapeze tailpiece. Once you see the trapeze tailpiece, that price starts to come way down. The other thing that happens with those trapeze tailpieces is we get away from the 1 11/16 nut width and we go down to the 1 9/16 nut. So it gets a little bit more narrow at the nut. This is the full wide nut, kind of a medium neck. Not a blade neck, not the real big chunky neck, but a nice comfortable kind of round profile on the neck. Factory Stoptail, and then still 2 PAFs, which by 62 on the nickel part guitars you start getting 1 and 1, and sometimes you'll even get 2 patent numbers by that point. They just shipped fewer guitars with the gold tops than they did with nickel ones. So the PAFs tend to stretch a little longer in the 345s, 355s, anything else, Super 400 stuff that had gold hardware. But man, really, really clean conditioned guitar. It's so Back to the Future. There's like that scene in Back to the Future of Michael J. Fox playing the red 345 is like the reason I started playing guitar. Very, very powerful moment of my childhood, seeing that, being an 80s kid. But yeah, I always had a thing for Cherry Red because of that. And that's kind of the guitar right there. They're so great, man. If you go look up The Beat, all the Freddie King stuff from The Beat, you'll see Freddie playing a guitar much like this. Not sure what year his was. Could have been a 61, 62 or something like that. But yeah, Factory Stoptail Red. It's the best. Let's go out to the couch. We got a fun amp to plug it into. Let's go take this guy for a ride. All right, we're out front. We have the 1962 Gibson ES-345TDC. Cherry Red, 2 PAFs. Check out the amp, man. We're going into a 60s Gibson GA79 stereo reverb amp. This is kind of the companion amp for the guitar. We've got the Y cable going in, one in each channel. One speaker is going to have one pickup, one's in the other side. In the middle position, you're going to hear the whole thing in stereo. Let's start up on the neck PAF all by itself here. Let's see what we got. Let's go down to the bridge pickup now by itself. Bridge PAF, all by itself. into the middle. Both PAFs, full stereo, coming out of the amp. It's gonna be a little bit louder because you're hearing everything now, so brace yourself in your cell phone speakers there. Something about real PAFs, man. So much better. Sorry, I know. I can't afford them either, dude. They're so much better. This is from 1962. Original Gibson ES-345TDC. Thin, dual pickup, cherry. Factory Stoptail, 2 PAFs. It's in Norm's first book. It's from the stash. Original brown case. Anything? No? Oh, it's so good, guys. There's your Wednesday for this week. Follow me on Instagram at Mark Agnesi. Follow the store at Norman's Rare Guitars. 250,000 followers and counting.
Woo!
On their Instagram account. And check this out online, Norman's Rare Guitars. Really.com. It was the Holy Spirit there, kids. Help me, Jesus. Help me, Lord. All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow for another episode of Guitar of the Day. Till then, you guys have yourself one hell of a night. See you tomorrow. Peace.
Bye.